Welcome to Stretton Unfiltered, the podcast where fashion, purpose, and unapologetic conversation meet. Hosted by Anna and Sammy Stretton, this series takes you behind the scenes of a legacy brand and a powerful social impact journey, sharing the stories, lessons, and voices that inspire change. Okay, cool. Wow, welcome to another episode of Stretton Unfiltered, and we've got a really exciting guest today, Neil Guzwell from the mighty Waikato, the Bree.
Yeah, we're all here in the Waikato because that's where all the best people are.
You know that?
Yeah, we do. And super cool to have our very alive, vivacious, very young, I'll kind of do the young thing, and hugely popular breakfast radio host. And the Breeze, obviously, we can see the blatant
signage
advertising.
there.
Yeah, so good.
Get that in.
Not only the sign, but also the frock. Loving the frock. It's
You
good.
know how I love my Gloria. So I'm sitting down.
Yeah. It's such a good name for that. So
It is.
Not like Gloria Vale, just Gloria.
Just
Very
the Gloria
different.
dress. Very different.
Yeah.
And we've got Camille on today because I'm hoping lots of our listeners have seen all of the work that we've been doing with Camille with our social media and trying to be authentic and real. And we just wanted to talk all things social media today about our experiences, your experiences, just company experiences, just a real big overhaul.
Yeah, I think there's been such a massive evolution around what it was, what it used to be, what it is today, how empowering and how destructive it can actually be. And I think between us we'll have a diversity of all sorts of different experiences that we'll be able to share. So we're not here today to kind of teach you to operate your social media platforms. We're here more just to share the experiences and just really get, I guess, a whole lot of conversation going that just, I guess, shows you that you're not alone in this space when you do encounter something as particularly difficult as I've certainly encountered and I'm going to share as well as part of this podcast.
But I guess where we could start is the love-hate relationship with social media. I know I definitely have that. I love and hate it, and I love to hate it, and I hate to love it. So there's so many different ways that you could answer that. But yeah, and it's how it gives everyone a voice to be someone different, show something different, all sorts of highlight reel, but then it becomes negative reel as well, where some people are throwing people under the bus or slandering people. But I guess how do you want to start that with
Well, I think, the interesting thing is I think it would be good to reflect back on where it first started and what it was potentially being used for and how positive it was, I guess, around the ability to garner sort of large groups of people around you and share special moments. And that's pretty much what people are sharing, or particularly sad moments in your life where there was an ability to, I guess, have a conversation with a whole lot of different people without individualizing that and having to kind of relive the pain. Say if someone had passed, or you were sharing the joy of a new baby, or it just becomes a really nice way of sharing those moments across a whole lot of different people in your life. Yeah.
It's like it took over from. Do you remember the old-fashioned Christmas newsletter that used to happen back in the day? This was a way of talking about your overseas trip. Back in the day, you just put your photos up on social media and all your family could have seen what you were doing on your holiday. It saved 25 phone calls because all the aunties could see the photos. But you're right, it's changed into something so different now.
I guess I'm just going to go back on that because I'm older than you two, but it was more those dreadful kind of, and they probably weren't so dreadful at the time, but those movie nights we all had to go to see the snaps.
The slideshows.
They just kept, and they just kept going and going and going. You're thinking, actually, that's enough. I've actually got my gifts to
one more angle of you by the Tower of Pisa and another one on the other side.
Exactly.
But what was everyone's first social media platform that they joined? Mine was Bebo. Facebook. So you're OG Facebook. Did you have a Bebo? Where you had to give away your heart to someone each day? And it was like, I'm your best friend, I'm the other half. It was so rude.
No, I definitely didn't have Bebo.
Not my Bebo. It's probably terrible. So you had a Facebook. Did you have Bebo? No Bebo for you, Camille?
No Bebo. I was trying because I was working. No, because I was working in radio when this all started to unfold, and I was doing. I crossed my arms and I was like, I'm not doing this. And I was. It was one of the stupidest decisions. I was like, I don't need this. I don't need to put my life on a platform. And then I had to because everyone was on it kind of thing, and you couldn't miss out on it. So I joined Facebook, and now I'm practically on everything except for TikTok. Because I know you've seen me. I can't dance. Okay, so
I actually think you can dance. I watch those little movements in those social media videos you do for us. I mean, and someone said to me the other day, you know, it's the highlight of my day when I see Camille on your feed sort of jibing around in those dresses. You can
really
dance.
nice.
You should think about TikTok. But I think, you know, if I go back and I think about Facebook, and I think about how I also was a bit reluctant around, you know, how much do you want to share? Why do you need to share? But as you say, you just get kind of suckered into it. But I'm certainly still in a while I don't share too much, especially in that personal space, I guess, because as we've evolved on, there's all these different types of challenges that come with sharing, especially when you're sharing things with younger children, younger people, and just wondering who's kind of looking at that information. I tend to have closed up a little bit because so much of my joyous moments are around grandchildren, and I don't really want to put them up so much anymore. So I tend to limit that, whereas I think years and years ago we would have been very much into sharing all those moments, you know, and felt quite safe doing that and extremely kind of connected and proud doing it. It's certainly changed.
Very much so. And isn't that sad almost that we've changed from being a place where we could go, look at my beautiful baby and have everyone comment on you, and now it's turned into people are using those photos nefariously. It's so sad. But at the same time, it can still be so joyous because you can get so much from it if people are authentic. And that's part of what I think we've always connected over is authenticity.
Yeah, and I think I really see that with the work that you're doing for us, and that I guess it's a great opportunity for you to talk about sort of how that's impacted with your body positive type feel, and that you're not forced is a bad word.
Yes.
I think how did that matter to you in respect of how you felt about yourself, and the fact that you're not that kind of size 10, 6 foot tall Amazonian. Oh, you got all the Amazonian hair and the looks. I mean, because we're all just so individually beautiful anyway, but and that's what we're going to kind of hold on to. But I think that would be awesome to hear about, because you actually must see yourself go through and must look at yourself, and I guess you'd be your harshest critic around watching that. So how does that feel when you see what is really regular through our feed? And I guess it continues to be pretty regular in yours.
When we first started working together and we did our first photo shoot, and which was back in the day with the bath and everything like that, and looking at the videos and photos of me, it was confronting for me because I'm a 53-year-old woman with jibbly bits and flobbly bits, and I didn't appreciate the bits as much as I do now, because I looked at the videos and I thought, I'm being true to who I am. That's not fake hair. I don't dye my hair. I don't have Botox or any of those things. It's the real me. And that's why when I said I'd come on this podcast, I've got no makeup on because this is the 4:15 in the morning Camille that you're seeing now.
Yeah.
So this is who I actually am outside of those videos, and I wanted to show that too, because I think that is real. It's hard when you see yourself like that, though, and you know that people are looking at you. And the first time that someone said something to me about being in one of your videos was a real fright, because I'm used to people talking to me about my radio stuff. Or talking to my kids, or saying, oh, I saw you at something, you know, or you were emceeing something. I'm used to that. But I'm not used to someone saying, gosh, you stick your bum out in those videos, don't you? Which was like, whoa. And when you're in a public situation like that, people do tend to, they feel like they know you, so they come out with really honest things, which can be confronting. So you do have to deal with it. I've had to kind of watch them. I've talked about it. I didn't look at any of the comments to start with because I was really scared, because you can take them so personally. And then my sister, my older sister, sat me down and said, you need to look at these. They are talking about you being normal, and that's what you are, and you need to embrace who you are. And she gave me a gentle finger waggling, and I sat down and she read some of them out. She sent them to me, and I sat up straight and I put my shoulders back. And I thought, no, this is time that you start embracing who you are. I'm not ever going to be a tall, skinny model. There are models who do that. I'm a different kind of person. And that's who I've always been. And it's been really good for me to learn to embrace my body, because it's done some amazing things for me. It's brought me beautiful children. It's traveled me through 53 years of ups and downs. So we all, as women, we need to appreciate what we've got. And I don't know if we do enough.
No, I was listening to Stacey Morrison talking about her breasts. You know, it was a conversation with her breasts that she was doing on radio.
Beautiful letter she's written.
Wasn't it? Yeah, it was particularly powerful. I didn't actually work out what I was listening to, how you amble along driving and something's happening. And then I thought, wow, this is, particularly powerful. I mean, because all of these things she's saying apply to so many of us as women, and how important and how useful and, all of the jobs that our breasts do, and how at no time do we ever stop and just value that. We generally, they hang too low, they're not bouncy enough. There's everything that's not right about our breasts, and yet they've been such an important part of us and still remain that. I mean, it was just a particularly powerful letter.
Yeah. Breasts, what combination of minerals and vitamins and milk consistency to feed your baby at any given time of the day / period of life they're in. Like, I didn't think I valued my breasts enough until I knew that either. They do amazing things.
Yeah, they do, 100%.
Womanly body does amazing things. I don't think I had any appreciation for my body. I don't think I had any appreciation for being a woman properly, if you know what I mean. Like, skill power before having a baby, I liked my body. Cool, I'm a girl. That's kind of where it stopped. And then when you actually grow a human and then have a baby and then push that baby out of you, you were like, wow. The woman's body is insane, and then it heals. Then your uterus shrinks back down and it heals, and we can do it again if you'd like it to. That's insane that we get those capabilities and that men don't. I think we should just honour that.
Well, I think it's more that we start to value different aspects and we stop fixating on all those things that were so not important. And you did that wonderful piece in Rarotonga on the beach when you were, it was Eat the Chips. And we had such awesome reaction to that, because I guess that's how we all say we want to feel, but really getting to that space. And I've watched how you've kind of evolved into that space. And it doesn't really matter to us when you arrive to do those sessions, whether you put on a little bit of weight, whether you lost a bit of weight. We don't even think about that. We just put you in the clothes that look great on you. But I didn't even think about it. It just doesn't matter. And it was,
I know.
And it was just such an interesting moment when I did a podcast the other day with Dom Harvey, and he said, what would be one of the things that you would change about yourself, if you could? And I said, I would really love to stop fixating about my weight, because I still do it. And that would be the one thing that I could actually try and do in 2026. Give it a go.
So you've still got 3 months to fixate.
I know, but just don't. I'm still conscious of it, and I shouldn't be.
Talking about the comment section before, and talking about body positivity, and how you just started reading the comments, and I think that was one of the most amazing things that we kind of we just obviously wanted to start working with you. We thought you were a bundle of joy, looked great in the clothing. We knew that you loved shopping, like you used to come out and get dressed for us for events. We're like, cool, there's a brand synergy there. We're not asking you to come along and do something that you don't actually. You didn't have to ask us to wear our clothes. I think what was awesome is that what we really saw from our customers is you were so well received. You were authentically yourself. You just look great, and you had so much fun doing everything. And I think that's why our customers, we know that's why our customers, often the comment section will be like, she's a bundle of joy, or I just love watching Camille, she makes my day, she just makes me, she lights up the room, she makes me smile, I want to buy that dress. And that's how we want people to feel when they're wearing our clothing, is happy, and they feel great. And I think you invoke that joy pre-purchase to be like, I feel great, I love this. And as you show that so well in our clothing. I think that's so awesome.
Thank you.
And we have had other moments. We worked with other people, and they haven't been nice. So it's really interesting how social media.
The comments haven't been nice. No, so the people have been nice, but interesting how
social media gives you a place to do things like that, where some people are like, we love Camille, or we love this, blah, blah, blah. But then it also gives them permission, since they're not talking to you to your face, to be like, she looks terrible in that top. Or,
I know.
Her bum looks
That's the thing.
Hold on.
That's hard.
Hold on. What happened to be kind?
Well, I think it's that kind of, it's that faceless kind of attack, which enables people that normally would not have the courage to come up to you, in an in-person space and say, I actually really dislike that top on you, and yet they place it on a feed, which I think, as much as there's a kind of a brand connotation, and they're actually making a negative statement around the brand, they're also making it around the person, and that's the interesting thing here.
That's what's hard.
It was. I listened to an interview that Jacinda did the other day, and she said, when I used to look at my feed, and oh my gosh, some of the stuff on that feed was so bad. I mean, well, it was things like, we're going to take you down, we're going to kill you, or, whatever, and it was just really, really horrible stuff. But, she said that she would see just a general feed where there would be 90% or 95% positive commentary, and it'd be the couple of comments that were just horrible that would actually play on her mind all day, and that's the irony, we kind of swing to that really negative, difficult side. There's nothing we can do about it, but yet we overlook all of that wonderful stuff that's been said, that's supportive and empowering, and truly aligned with her. But she said, I just used to feel sick. I'd see this stuff and I'd think, oh my gosh, why are you even looking at it? Why are your people not? But I guess in politics, you don't edit your feeds in the way that we do to protect people like yourself that are choosing to wear the brand. If people are choosing to be that nasty, they don't deserve to be on the feed. And so therefore, we don't want them to be on the feed. We don't want that sort of culture around our brand. But with politics, I guess you just got to suck it up. And you got to take all of it in that feed. It's not a managed feed in the way that other brands can perhaps manage their feed.
Well, a lot of places like on the Herald and stuff now just disable comments because they know it's going to be really contentious. I think they just disable. We just can't deal with. They don't have enough people and enough time in the day to be monitoring that.
Moderate them.
So
it's pretty interesting.
Moderate the comments.
You mentioned before about the fun and the authenticity. Yeah. I feel like we should tell them we have the best time while we're filming. Like it's quite bonkers during a Camille day, isn't it? Like,
well, I think it's more your lack of off switch that gets I mean, we will have done a whole shoot in the morning, and I'll be wanting to do some personal stuff with you. Like some of the photographic competitions that I enter. And I'll just be sitting down and you'll go, okay, right, we're off to do that. Can we, this is a good space. We'll go down here and I've just had an idea. I'd like to try this. And I'm thinking, holy shit, are we going to get, and I'm thinking, I thought I had no off switch. And we're just about to do this all again next weekend. And we'll be, and we'll be kind of thinking about
strangers. Oh my God, yes.
But we meet.
I know.
I think the other thing about that stranger meeting is I love the way you do it so respectfully. I love the courage that you bring to it, but there's always such a huge element of respect. So when we're in the island, we went to the Saturday markets, and I suggested that you actually approach some of these gorgeous Pacifica women with their wonderful ikatus and see if we could actually take some shots, because the ikatus and the dresses, and of course we had ikatus on you as well. And I just love the way that you would approach them, and they would feel super comfortable with us doing slightly crazy stuff, and even then you button the stuff back. So you've got a wonderful EQ around just achieving the outcome, but not progressing so that people are so bloody uncomfortable. So it's it's always geared about us, and it's at the expense of them to get our great shot. It's never like that. You do such a wonderful job around that. But yes, it is full on. Yes, I often hear you on radio saying you've got no off switch. I can confirm that you have no off switch. When you go to bed,
you're saying that all hours of the day.
I know, but I think, one of the things that would be great to segue into would be to talk about one of my worst experiences with social media. It was during the time of Fashion Week, and it was in the earlier shows of Fashion Week, and the Herald, the Canvas publication, asked me to do a quick question and answer. At the time, I had also been doing some work for the TV program Going, Gone, where I had gone on as one of their sort of profile guests. I don't know if I like the word celebrity, but profile guests and they had asked me to purchase some stuff at the auction because it was a taxidermy auction, and they knew that I was particularly interested in taxidermy. And so in that auction, I purchased this bear rug, which I loved. It was part of a commissioned Canadian to cull the brown bear, which can be an absolute challenge and a problem for them. It wasn't like I had commissioned the kill of this brown bear, but I had the rug based around this program that I had gone on to just, showcase the love that I had of taxidermy and also be part of the program and actually buy something. So I bought the bear rug. When the Herald came and asked if I would do the column as a question and answer for the Saturday canvas, I actually thought, I'll send them a shot of me sitting on my newly purchased bear rug with the two white boxer dogs. Well, you can imagine the absolute furore that erupted from at the time I didn't think anything of it, because I certainly I guess it was just at the start of, although we were fully engaged with PETA and that they were I guess they were really struggling with the use of our ethically killed possum in our fashion collections. So they actually saw possum, even though it is a pest that they've been targeting to eradicate by 2025. I wonder how they're going with that. That was John Key's mission with the... But,
not very well.
No, but so there was some discussion around that. Yeah, but when I sat on that rug, the absolute carnage that erupted around that, it was all through social media and it was all through the animal activists that had plenty of opinions. So it didn't, and so I issued an apology, a very public apology, and said, look, there was no intent. This is what had happened. This is why I had a stupid moment and not a great photo to issue in respect of, I guess, my alignment with the animal charities, because I was actively involved with SAFE and SPCA at the time and still am today. But I guess the interesting thing is when they encounter a situation where they have a tall poppy, which I effectively was, and they had the ability to really attack in the way that they did, it becomes incredibly frightening. And it's like a train, you just can't stop. You know, the way that they did that, the stuff that was coming out on the feeds, they were setting up new Facebook pages that were actually titled things like Annah Stretton hypocrite, and then everyone got to kind of post there. It was, honestly, I've never experienced anything like it. It was beyond anything I've ever seen. I actually started to feel really scared, really frightened. Yeah. In the end, I started to feel really frightened because that activism had reached such an extreme level, and it didn't matter how much I tried to mitigate it or explain or just say, hey, I apologise, it was a poor photo to send, but it was, and sometimes you just don't think in those moments, and it was, and I guess from the use of animals in respect of the taxidermy had played out in our retail stores, had been at other spaces, so kind of didn't put all the dots together and think, oh wow, don't do this. But the benefit of hindsight's a wonderful thing. But it was more the fear that I had for my children, people that were running my stores, and for where this would all go and how that would feel. Yeah. We were living in Auckland at the time. We had a home in Ponsonby, and there was a real uncomfortability even going out to the local caths. You know, I just didn't even like leaving the house. It was really hard. It was really, really hard. So I really understand when someone gets attacked in that way, what's likely to be happening. And it was interesting when I would encounter my friends and I'd say, and they'd go, oh my God, it's just vile what's happening to you at the moment. And I go, oh, you've seen it. And they say, how could you not? It's all over everything. And I go, why wouldn't you jump in and say, and they go, oh, hell no. We're too scared that attack me. And I just thought, so you're so alone.
Interesting.
You're so alone. So no one was prepared to my face, everyone was prepared to sort of say, oh, look, we really support you. It's not like you commissioned the kill, you made a mistake, you've openly owned and apologised to that. But wow, it was, so no one's there. It's just you. No. You're just on your own there. You know, no one came, even tougher. No one jumped into a feed and said, this is senseless, this is crazy, she's actually given you all the information you need. It was like, they wanted to make an example of me and they wouldn't stop at anything.
And did it just sort of die down over time?
Yeah, it did. It did. This will probably this will probably empower it again.
I don't say yeah because I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because it's there. You can search it. And, you know, for me, I guess the taxidermy thing was a thing in my life. And I understand why that people get so angry about it. But I guess too, there are still countries, and we're one of them, that are eradicating animals that are deemed pests. Yeah. And whether it's the bears in Canada or whether it's the possums in New Zealand, which are protected in Australia. For me, it wasn't as if I was sitting there with an elephant head and the prized tusks. So the positioning I had was, I believe, was ethical, but I guess it was my ethical, and they just had a different perception of that. But yeah, so there's kind of an example of the power of it and what happened there. Yeah.
That's the difference with social media too, is that when you watch a television show or you'll listen to something on radio, you hear the context. In social media, if you just see a photo and they don't see anything more than that photo, they put everything and it'll all be explained in their own head. There'll be a reason, there'll be an excuse, there'll be everything. So whether or not you had an explanation, it didn't matter to them. They saw the photo and that's all that needed.
They just want to massage that out because it's actually way better to just continue the attack because it really, I guess it achieves the agenda they're ultimately going for, but it's not because those culls are still happening in Canada. That's, you know, because of the threat that the bears pose to that built-up population as it encroaches on their land. And that's a whole other discussion as well. But yeah, it's interesting too, because as we started saying, even in our feed, we still get those really kind of difficult comments, or vile almost comments, and it's and the fact that someone doesn't stop and think that there's actually a human behind this, there's someone behind this, or even start to think about the perception of what would happen, or how would this feel if that attack was reversed and it was on them, and how comfortably they would sit with that. So I certainly really empathise with that political space, and certainly whether that be councils or politicians, and as much as people say, hey, you put yourself up, you stand up, but it's so vile, and the ability to attack in such a nameless way, it just makes me sit so uncomfortably.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazies on the breeze?
Yeah.
We have, yes. It's really hard when they take, because on radio I'm very much true as well. People, same kind of thing. They think they know you because you share your life with them every day. So there is a lot of liberty which is taken. You've said this before. Yeah. I've had a photo on Facebook where people have criticised the fact that I put a photo on Facebook. I've had a woman criticised for using te reo. Really climb into me for that. And all sorts of little things. So it is really hard not to take it personally. But we had a boss a few years ago say, print off the nice stuff. Have a nice list. Have a good list. Put the nice list where you can see it. And every one of those negatives that come up, look back on the positives, because we don't pay attention to the positives. You've mentioned this already, Anna. We forget about the positives. So if you've got them printed off or somewhere where you can see them, then you focus on that. And it's all about retraining your brain, right? To focus on positives.
Absolutely,
Yeah. So it is hard though, and I still don't like it. And it still really hurts me. I'm a bit of a wuss. Whilst I'm, Camille, and I'm happy and bubbly and all that, sometimes it really hurts. I'll never forget the first time I met someone after listening to me on the radio, and they came up to me. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but it was a promo, and this was when I was working in Wellington years ago, and I hadn't been working in breakfast radio for very long, and she came up to me and she pointed at me and she said, "Oh, you're Camille." And she looked me down, and then she looked me up, and then she went, "I thought you'd be taller and brunette." And I was like, and it was my first promo. I literally didn't know what to say, and I was like, thanks. Sorry. I think. I'm sorry to be underwhelming. I don't know what to say. Because you don't know what to say. So someone's painted a picture of you in their head and they meet you in person and you're underwhelming. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more, at least you said it to your face. At least you didn't guys say,
I say it on Facebook too.
Yeah, but I think it's more the fact that you become quite public property. And I find that with the brand as well. You have to be particularly careful. And it does actually mean that our feed becomes quite managed in respect of what we will say or what we will align with. So it dilutes it a bit at times. And especially where I tend to have different conversations around things that I'm passionate about, I won't anymore. I won't because it's just not worth it. I mean, it's not worth creating the difficulty that the brand then encounters because I have a specific opinion around something I'm particularly passionate about. I remember putting up a picture when I first got into photography of this awesome shot. I loved it. I really loved it. And I can see why, but at the time I didn't but it was of Lily's legs and I'd tucked them into a big flower. So she looked like she was diving into the flower. It was kind of quite Alice in Wonderland. And people really felt uncomfortable with that because you couldn't see her bum, you couldn't see from below. So it was her knees to her toes, but she was diving into a flower, but they had a real uncomfortability about it. So I just took the photo down. Kids like that up in pictures. But it wasn't, it was just knees. I mean, it was from her knee to her toes.
Some people, and said, look, hey, let's not forget there is entire websites devoted and entire things, all sorts devoted to parts of bodies. Yeah.
I don't know if I like what this world is, these kids are going to grow up in this space. It's just, that's why I've stopped putting the grandkids, except the odd occasion and a really clean picture. We were at the zoo on the weekend and I decided this one's okay. We're all doing cheers with our ice cream. Apart from the fact that Riv was having full dairy when he's dairy intolerant. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I hope Sam doesn't see this.
The after effects.
He was actually fine though.
He was.
Is that a full dairy ice cream that I see River with? Both me and Anna. It's actually Papa T that brought it up that maybe you shouldn't be eating that. But apparently he was fine. So I think we were full dairy anyway, so we're all good now. But yeah,
you weren't there, so you didn't have to deal with it, so it wasn't your
No,
problem?
I was unavailable.
No, we were kind of all sitting there chowing down, and
he loves it.
Tony goes, River, dairy intolerant? And Johnny goes, oh shit. And then we all started to sort of see if we could eat River's ice cream. Well, do you want to share, Riv? No. So it was kind of these gannet bites every time he offered it up to be shared. Anyway, but I think...
It is, and especially for us at Stretton, like we get all sorts of comments every day, great ones, and questions that are already there, just like negative ones. And sometimes they're negative in the fact that there's something like the garment about something, and what we love is that we have other big fan and superstars that just jump in and go, no, this is actually the way it is, or this is why we've done this, or they already have this in 5 other colours, like go look at their website, they'll back us up, and it becomes a big thread of people commenting, I have this one and I love it, and it's
community,
also great for our algorithm. It's our
that
community.
is where the positives, that's where the positives are, right?
We will get negative ones which we'll just leave and be like, oh, it's nice to see that there might be not everything is positive and that someone's counteracted it for us with a positive, but then there's just hateful or just mean ones, straight up mean ones that we're like, hey, sorry, whoever you are, you're actually not welcome in our space. We don't put things up for you just to be mean for no reason. Sorry, you're being deleted. So we manage things like that too. We don't leave up hateful comments. Why would we leave that there? For one, the model to see, and two, we work really hard every day. We don't need to see that. Have your own opinion somewhere else on your own page, on your own things that you've created.
We're very much the same on our Facebook page too. We call it it's a community of families, our Breeze family, and it's an Annah Stretton family, and you want everyone to, you don't say that to your nana, so why would you be saying that to that woman on that little screen in front of you?
Yeah.
I think it's actually good that people are taking their lead and doing things like that and not having to endure those nasty comments. Because if we all manage in that way, those comments have no place to land. And so, therefore they actually go back into wherever they've come from, and they're not able to do that. So that to me is a much stronger way of managing, I guess if you want to call it hate speech or whatever it is, but that really depends, on how much it's been elevated as to what that looks like. But some of it, as I say, is just needs to go.
But that circles really nicely into what else, the other part that we wanted to talk about is, we've talked about the positive social media, but where it's evolved to now, how it is creating communities for the Breeze, for Annah Stretton, for small community charity, for everyone really. Facebook seems to, social media in some form is like a hub for so many communities to build a following and like their customers to come together. Yeah, it's an amazing space now.
Well, I think all of the community pages that are directly specific to the area that's happening,
they're fun.
Also, they are, because it enables what's going on, what's happening.
Lost cats, lost dogs.
And banana boxes. And when you're moving, always.
I've been burgled. Did anyone else get burgled? There's a whole lot of things that go on.
Yeah.
The neighbourhood watch in a much more, it's like neighbourhood watch in a very sort of visual, immediate way. We kind of had these, so people are actually able to protect, people are able to connect. There's all these wonderful things that can go on. So I love what they are, but they also do provide quite a nice platform to be able to perhaps showcase your event or something that you're doing that you feel is particularly specific to that community as well. So, they enable outsiders on a semi-regular basis, and it's nice that they're protective of those domains, so you can't randomly just put things up that are effectively more advertorial in context. They're endeavouring to just keep it to that real community with a little bit of that advertorial type space. So, they limit what's happening there. But it's really evolving. And then you've kind of got all of that, the other platforms that exist like TikTok, and you do need to kind of think about that because I think you'd be bloody perfect for that. They need more older people on TikTok.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
You introduced me to Rose. I guess I could try exploring TikTok.
Yeah. We might have to try and bring a bottle to because that's all we can get through customs to Rarotonga.
We could all take one each.
One each. We could. Yeah.
No.
But I think also that, like you mentioned about how there is lots of positivities. I think that's part of the positivity has been with our journey has been exploring the authenticity of it.
Yes.
And I think that's been, some of the stuff we do isn't necessarily traditional. I mean, why am I holding ski poles when I'm on a tennis thing, when I'm wearing a golf outfit? I don't know, but it was there. And sometimes these things pop in my head, but you guys always go with it and we end up with something fun and sometimes random. So I love the explorative, authentic nature of it when it's done right, like you guys are doing. So I think that's really important too. And it's a celebration of how doing it right.
Yeah, I think it's also having, as you say, that authenticity, but your ability to be that bouncy kind of connected person has enabled us to really just keep evolving that whole platform. And I think too, you're courageous in the fact that we'll suggest something. As much as you say you suggest, we also bring stuff too and say, hey, this is what we're going to try. This is how we want to dress you up now. I mean, this is what you're going to look like. And then there's been that evolution into the photography work. But I think that also, it's a pretty nice capability that you have and a courage that you have to just go with it and I guess trust yourself to be able to pull it off, and you do. So that's why we continue to get that awesome feedback around the social media that we do. I think that's also been a really nice difference for us where a lot of businesses have found it went to a bit of a struggle and we've managed to kind of keep the wolf from the door and keep ourselves nicely buoyant because we just thought a little bit differently around how we're promoting, what we're saying, messages we're sending, how we're presenting that, So I think that's been super helpful for us as well. So we've really adopted social media in a way that really fits with our customer too. That's another thing, we know, whereas a lot of people sort of think, Facebook, how much longer is that actually going to be a thing? But for our demographic, it's a thing. It really is a thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
Facebook, Meta owns Facebook and Instagram, so it's a thing for all generations. It's got its fingers in every pie.
I know.
Very much.
But it's insane, and also the way that you think about social media now, like if you are a business, obviously Facebook's changed so much. I love that Vicky's just in the background here.
Walking backwards
and forth. They'll be like, Anna's is Vicky ever going to stop working?
That's my 86-year-old mother. Yeah, you will be criticised.
Sorry, sidetrack.
We love Vicky.
When we started, Facebook was putting out your photos from your holiday and sharing your things with your friends, and now it's obviously moved completely away from making obnoxious, what are those things called? Segments.
Comments.
No, comments. What are they? It'll come to me in a minute. Those things you used to say out loud, like what you were doing that day or how you felt,
Oh, that's right. You're back in the day. How are you feeling? I'm feeling naked.
Sammy's feeling tired. She's had a big night out. Something like that.
I forgot about that. There was an era, wasn't it? Everyone went, I am feeling tired.
A status. You don't update your status. And then,
that's... Do you know the kids went into Lily's classroom and they've got they have to put a status update as they enter. So they have to put, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling sad. So I go in there and Lily puts up, I'm feeling tired. And I go, hun, you went to bed at 7 o'clock. We got up at 6 o'clock. You've been having a great time. Why would you say you're feeling tired? That's going to reflect on me. She said, oh, no, I'm just feeling tired.
It's feeling flat today.
She is so gorgeous.
It's evolved so much from just a few family snaps to now it's an advertising machine with Meta. And I think the true thing for us as a business is to make sure that we are authentic and using real people and talking really to our customers. It's not the right word, but it's but so that we don't just look like another ad. Because I guess technically everything we do is, for Anna Stretton at least, is advertising in a nice way or not. But we're trying to do it in a way that feels personal and real. So you're not just being like, here's your dress, buy it now for $1.99. It's talking about the moment and understanding that, and the customer really feeling that.
I guess it's got an advertorial flavour because there's all sorts of conversations that you have where you take it to another space and create the humour, but at the end of the day, it's about product promotion. It's just about how we do that in a way, and that's the lovely feedback that I get. Just love seeing your feed when something comes up in your feed. I actually watch it. So there's just great stuff like that. And I think too, people don't necessarily engage with it as much from the point of view of liking it or whatever, but they see it, and that's the thing that I constantly get.
I
just dropped it quickly. I also think part of that too, with the authenticity and part of the reach, is that when you guys come to me and say we're doing this, we're not going. You guys don't ask me to do or say something that isn't who I am. You're not going to put me in something and say, well, let's talk about what this does to you or anything like that, because that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to go, oh, it's got pockets. And you might tell me, often Sammy, you can confirm, you'll tell me technical terms like this is sharing and this is dart. Or you and Caitlin will tell me actually what it is, and I'll go, and I will have forgotten, and I'll go, mate, look at this cool thing. So it's very authentic because I'm not a fashionista like you guys are. I don't live or breathe in that world. I part-time step in, and I feel so blessed to be able to step in part-time. I love it. I love working with you guys. It pumps me up creatively for my other job as well. So it is tiring though. So when I put my status as tired, I'm sorry, I'm tired sometimes.
You're like, we can go to Santa Samara next week and like, how's everyone feeling this morning?
Like,
no tired. We don't give permission to that. Yeah, no tired.
I'm feeling energetic.
We can have like activity days ready for tanning.
Yeah, I actually think that Lily's classroom should take down the tired. I don't think we should give people permission to
Especially
feel
first
tired.
thing in the morning. Especially first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I think it should just be happy or that's it. That's the only choice. You've got to be happy.
That's not being in touch with your emotions.
You can be happy or motivated or
You can't do that anymore. You've got to really regulate where you're at.
Okay.
We just have to say that River's in the room.
Yeah, we have. I think there's been lots of great stuff that we've covered.
The highs and lows of social media.
Well, I've pulled my heart out around the beer
rug.
rug.
People love hearing about that.
Yeah, I think, it's nice to be able to reflect on a journey that's been massive over 33 years, but to be able to share some of the stuff, to know that people aren't alone, because it does happen to some of us. And we do get, I guess, when we make a mistake or we do something that doesn't kind of align with the perception that people have of it, because I didn't set out to make a mistake. No. I set out to, just be part of an interview process in the Canvas. But I think from the point of view of just knowing that when these things happen, as hard as it is, focusing on the positive is perhaps a little bit easier than just hanging yourself out to dry on what is the minority of comments, not the majority. Really putting that perspective into your mindset. And as you said, Camille, and I'm such a big advocate of it, really training your mind to flick into that positive space. Pretty powerful thing to teach yourself to do, and it does take a hell of a lot of time, so start now.
Time is everything.
Yes,
just go away.
it is.
100%.
It will go away in time. It's like anything.
And that's right. Just wait for the next big thing to take over. The beer rug was gone now. So there's someone else getting angry on. Yeah.
Nicole and Keith are divorcing, and Nigel Ladder's passed. There's just so much happened last night. Wow, what an awesome individual. Yeah,
incredible man.
Yeah, incredible. On that note,
okay,
thank you for having me.
Bye. Yeah, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you.
Thank you for listening to Stretton Unfiltered. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow us and share it with your friends. You'll find us on all platforms where you get your podcasts. We'd love to hear your feedback or your guest suggestions, so please reach out and join the conversation. Until next time, stay unfiltered.